So now we're going to fast forward to one that's already assembled, the one that we have built already. This one was built by Mr. Brian Shelley. This is, again, the 25th anniversary. All hand wired, all hand represented. And now we're in testing phase. We're going to go in and we're going to set the bias on the tubes. We're going to play test the amp, make sure that everything works correctly. So we have our testing cradle. And we're going to plug everything in and wire everything up and get ready to turn on for the very first time. So 120 volt, we have adapters for 230 volt and variacs for 100 volts. Do it all. Okay. And she powered right on. So now that it's powered on and there's no smoke, no fire, we're going to test some voltages and then we're going to set the bias for the power tubes. Always be careful when playing in high voltage. Don't ever poke around in a live amp unless you're trained into doing so. There's enough voltage in here to kill you if you're not careful. Okay, so the voltages look right that we tested. They're right where they should be. So now we're going to set the bias. Little screwdriver to these are little bias adjustment, which you saw wired up a little earlier ago. Set it at about 30 millivolts. Check both tubes. On the money. Now comes the fun part where we get to play it. Okay, now that we've tested the amp, make sure that all the knobs work, everything works right, all the voltages are correct, the bias is set. We're going to burn it in, which is basically we're going to put it into a rack, we're going to turn it on, run a signal through it at a high gain, just push it as hard as we can to make sure that everything, stress out all the components, stress all the tubes, make sure nothing fails. Okay, so what we're going to do here, this is the burn-in rack. This is where we burn in all the amplifiers. Because we add a speaker load to it to keep it from blowing up. We use a tone generator to simulate guitar input into the amplifier through the burn-in process. At this point, we do another test. When we're burning it in, we check the voltage out to make sure that it is in the range that it should be for volume and AC voltage out. So. And that's where it should be. All the way up, we're pushing. And again, the voltages look good. Okay, so we've let our amp burn in for several hours, got real nice and hot, stressed everything out, made enough, went through the process with no failures. So what we do is we bring it over to this station where we hook it up to the oscilloscope and yet another tone generator and a load. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring it up, we're going to check the sound wave, make sure that everything comes up correctly, looks right, looks correct. We're going to take a reading off of the output voltage again to calculate the wattage of the amplifier. And then we're going to put it into a cabinet and then send it off to Josh, who's going to really test it. So we're going to bring it up. We're going to bring the signal up slowly to make sure that the wave comes up nice and even. And there's no deformities. And the wave's looking really good. And we take it up till it just hits the rails there. And we're going to take a measurement off the output. Again, we're going to read the AC voltage out. This is 19.2 volts, which according to our chart here, puts that right in the perfect range where this is right supposed to be. You're looking at about 45, 46 watts clean wattage. Distorted, it will go up higher. I think we'll run up to 80. Okay, so we have completed our building and our testing and our burning of a 25th anniversary amplifier. Okay, we just completed a 25th anniversary amplifier, which is hand-wired, much like the Dallas and the Paul Reed Smith Signature. This is Sweet 16, which is one of our Tuxedo line. As you can see, it's quite different in its design. It is a circuit board design. However, unlike a lot of other companies, all the components are hand placed, hand soldered onto the circuit board. It's not machine done. There's no machine work to it. Each one of these joints is hand soldered. Each component is hand placed. And the construction for this is a lot simpler. We don't have to hand wire the tube sockets because they're PCB mounted. Place the boards in. Again, we place the boards in. Fix the boards in place, and then we begin wiring. Okay, we have completed our Sweet 16. As you can see, there's a little bit of intricate wiring when it comes to the filaments, but for the most part it's pretty straightforward PCB design. It is a cathode bias, fixed bias amplifier, so we do not have to set the bias on this amplifier. It is preset. It is time to play it and test it. As you saw, the same procedures we did with the 25th anniversary at this point. It's the same thing we're going to do with the 16.